Welcome to Things We Like Sidebar Edition. I'm Zoe.
I'm Rudy.
In Sidebar Edition, this is where we give you a quick fix on all the entertainment discussion that you like.
Today we're talking about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or Marvel's attempt at the buddy cop genre.
Hmm. Lethal Weapon 5. Terrorist. That was all Lethal Weapons, wasn't it? This time they don't have diplomatic immunity.
Almost so. Honestly, thought we'd get that at some point.
Well, it got pretty close with Jet Li was whooping their asses, but all right, we're good off topic. Our sidebar. First of all, spoiler warning because we are going to be discussing the show. We might accidentally spoil a little bit. It just ended Friday, April 20.
So this will be a couple months out by the time we get.
Yeah, so it'll be a couple months out. So you probably would have had plenty of time to watch it. If you didn't see it, you probably would have saw spoiler pictures or whatever.
We're going to try to hold ourselves back too. So
yeah,
but a couple of episodes worth might get out there.
But that's basically we're just going to be looking at the synopsis, and talk about a little bit about it, give a little discussion, maybe the characters and what exactly they go through, and then we'll give a rating 1 out of 10, depending on how we liked it.
Sounds great.
All right.
So,
can you start us off?
I mean, yeah, why not? I mean, title's pretty self-explanatory. Falcon and Winter Soldier, they're teaming up. Hence the buddy cop reference. What was it? Both of them have it to where neither are officially military or anything like that. Both of them are almost mercenary status, if I'm right.
They call themselves special agents. That's what Sam calls himself at the end of the episode too. They call themselves free agents.
That's it.
They're still recognized as Avengers for the most part, despite the fact that Bucky never officially became an Avenger in any of the movies. Unless
not that it mattered, as we find out from Falcon, where it doesn't pay at all.
Yeah. I mean, unless where Steve actually said Avengers Assemble in Endgame, that meant everybody there had officially become Avengers. I mean, in which case, it's a shit ton of Avengers now.
Yeah. It's like the Harlem Globetrotters. Just like everyone's an honorary trotter now.
Can you imagine one of the Netflix TV show characters where there was like, what? You're too late.
Oh, what Marvel character would that be? Punisher.
He probably would have killed everybody there just out of spite.
Out of spite afterwards.
All right, so the basis synopsis of the show, like Rudy said, is called Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's following the ever-going adventures of the black guy and the white guy that Steve hung out with, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Sam and Bucky. This one take place after Endgame, after Steve has given Sam the shield, and after everyone has come back from the blip or the snap when Thanos wiped everybody out for 5 years. So basically what's happening is because people got wiped out for 5 years, during that time, all the countries' borders in the world pretty much shut down and people was able to move from country to country. So basically immigrants was able just to come into the country and get jobs because people were desperately needed to work. But then when everyone came back after the Avengers saved the day, because let's be honest, that really didn't save the day for anybody at that point, and everyone came back, they started trying to figure out what to do with these displaced people, the people that not only immigrated to other countries during the 5 years, but the people that had came back. The biggest argument is, what do we do now? Do we just look at the people that picked up the slack during the 5 years ago? Yeah, you're not needed anymore. You have to leave. You have to go back to where you came from, whether it was a war-torn country. You have to go back to being a poor urchin on the street. Or do we look at the people that got snapped back and had no control over the whole situation and go, well, you SOL. And that is where the main antagonist, and I'm not saying bad guys because despite some of the stuff they do, I have to say I kind of agree with some of their arguments.
I think this is where Marvel's getting better with. They're starting to live in the gray area. They are doing much better than black and white.
Yeah. It's just not like I'm gonna come down and destroy the world, or I'm mad at Tony Stark, so I'm gonna kill everybody, or alien invasion. Now it's like you can really see yourself in some of these people. I think it honestly started with which one came out first? With the Vulture.
Yes.
When you saw that the reason he started committing crime was because he got screwed over pretty hard and he tried to make a living for his family. And then it kind of continued with Killmonger, And even Thanos, to a lesser extent, people was actually going around saying, I kind of got where Thanos was coming from. Like, he
Yes.
definitely went about it the wrong way, but we get where you were coming from.
Right. And this one has it to where you could almost say everyone's a victim
Yeah.
throughout this series. Because as you mentioned, it's who are you going to help? There's no true right or wrong. You got to find that middle ground. And this one has it to where you get that emotion where you're being pulled multiple directions here. Actually, everyone has their problems in this. What was it? We get introduced to Falcon or Sam's family a bit more there.
Yeah.
We find that Bucky's been going through involuntary therapy.
Yeah.
So
Part
he's
of his
trying to deal with his past as well. So it really has a sense of people being pulled in different directions from events outside of their control.
And I can honestly say, and this really ain't a spoiler, but
Mm-hmm.
everybody always wondered, like when Endgame ended, everybody was like, well, Bucky was Steve's best friend, and Bucky took up the mantle first in the comic, so why didn't Steve get a shield to him?
Right.
But the entirety through this entire show, it actually shows why Steve chose Sam,
Mm-hmm.
because Sam exemplified everything that Steve would have stood for. And the fact that it doesn't take, and it was said in the first Captain America movie, it doesn't take a strong man but a good man.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a pretty deep thing with the whole Captain America choosing, because even at one point, felt like Bucky was even second guessing their almost pair of their decisions to go with him, because it
Yeah,
sounded like it was passed by him too.
and the crazy part is that if you listen to the dialogue,
Mm-hmm.
Bucky outright says that Steve told him his plan to give the shield to Sam. So that meant Bucky actually agreed with it from the get go. But you could see when Sam, and spoiler alert because everybody already knows, I think everybody pretty much knows this. Sam gives up the shield in the first episode. He gives it back to the government, and you could tell that really that I mean through the rest of the series,
Mm-hmm.
Bucky basically for 3 episodes straight, Bucky complains to Sam about why you gave up that shield. Why did you do
Yeah.
that? Why Steve trusted you? I trusted you. Why would you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when the new Captain America, John Walker, shows up.
Right. And I think that becomes one of the central elements of the show. It's like the weight of the title of Captain America,
Yeah,
to where it's more than just a name, more than just a nation, but pretty much a whole ideology
yeah.
that sits behind it, and not something to be taken lightly, as the series kind of goes to prove until we get to the ending of it, which we won't go into detail on.
No, we won't. But suffice to say, when I don't want to spoil it, but suffice to say, Sam, like I said, Sam actually proves why Steve picked him for the
Mhm.
shield, and it actually goes to show the stark contrast between Sam and who Steve picked and John Walker, who the U.S. government picked. Because if you really want to be honest, John Walker kind of acts like the bully that Steve had to deal with in the first Captain America movie for the most part.
That is true.
He was big, he was strong, he followed orders to a T, but he was a bully at the end of the day. And John Walker even comes off as a bully in the end of the second episode where he literally looks Bucky and Sam in the face and say, just stay the hell out of my way then.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had any guards to tell two Avengers what to do.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that one.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's pretty good. We actually kind of went into the next section about why we liked it and all. Anything we didn't cover that you thought gave it a good reason extra to watch it?
Well, I mean, if you like Marvel Easter eggs, there's plenty of them in there.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to get too many details, but they go to Madripoor, and that's a big X-Men setting. So they actually had a few X-Men Easter eggs in there that a lot of people didn't catch. So if you just like Marvel Easter eggs and you're looking forward to like how they gonna bring the X-Men into it, how they gonna bring yada 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 into it, what's the next kickoff of how they kicking off the next series, then yeah, it's a lot of good stuff in there like that too. And one of the more important things that I liked was the inclusion of Isaiah Bradley.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with him, but his role was executed perfectly in that.
Yeah, and
I
it
don't
really
want to go too much in there because again, I think it might be a little too much for us right now. That and it feels like it'd be potential spoiler stuff as well too, just from the death that he had.
yeah, and again, just his presence again shows the stark
Mm-hmm.
contrast between the three people who would wield the shield: Sam, Bucky, and John Walker.
Mm-hmm. And in this case,
That's really
Walker
what that shows.
representing the U.S. government.
Yeah, and they're like you said, they're dealing with the U.S. government. Um, anything you didn't particularly like, or anything that could
Well, let me add one more thing.
okay.
The side villain they had, Baron Zemo.
Zemo.
That was great. Getting him to come back. Honestly, that was perfect with him being in there. I was like, I know some people expected more or thought he should have been in there less, but I'm like, I like seeing side characters getting fleshed out more, and I think this is going to be the hallmark of the Marvel Disney Plus series if they keep these up.
What they did with him actually sets up a lot of extra stuff they could do now.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with what they did with him, what they did with you know who, I'm not gonna say her name.
Right.
With her
Like
coming, it basically sets up the, and a lot of people don't know who they are, the Thunderbolts, and I won't go into too much detail about who they are, but let's just say they're the Marvel equivalent of the Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Now, before we get too far, this is probably where we should plug in the Twitter channel. This is like a perfect example of where we'll be using that. So if you go to our Twitter at podcast TWL, I'll put it on the video somewhere here and in the description. We'll have it to where we'll put up some of the Easter eggs and we can do some additional discussion on there too. But yeah, let's go to things we didn't like or anything that we think might prevent us from recommending it to someone. I think the first thing with any Marvel item is you got to be up to date on most of what's happening with the characters in the movies.
Oh yes, if you didn't, you could. I mean, and if you didn't see Endgame, if you didn't watch the first three Captain America movies, then you are going to be super lost. Do not go into this without having seen all four Avengers movies and all three Cap movies. You have to have seen all of those at least.
But other than that, I guess compared to other shows, their other project that they did, WandaVision, this one doesn't have as much depth or second guessing.
Yeah.
This isn't like a mystery kind of thing. It's pretty a straightforward adventure. They kind of have it to where it's not as oh my god, they did that kind of feel as the other one did. But I don't think it's necessarily a negative. Just don't have that expectation.
Yeah, it's basically you're gonna go there and it's gonna give you point A, point B, and point C, and you're gonna get there and it's gonna be a ride getting there, but don't expect any super twister turns.
Mm-hmm.
One of my biggest issues with it was actually, as much as I liked the finale, it was kind of rushed. I would have had liked if it was only 51 minutes, and I would have liked if it was at least maybe an hour 10 minutes. That way that they could have added a little bit more to the conflict. The conflict,
True.
It wasn't as dire as you thought it was going to be, and it's kind of the same thing that happened with WandaVision, where it built itself up, but then in the finale, when you get to the last fight, you go, I seen that this was coming, and I knew this was gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, as much as I liked the villains, as much as they was fleshed out, they fell back into that Marvel trope of always putting the hero against their mirror opposite, and it happens in almost every Marvel movie.
Almost to the predictable level.
Yeah, Iron Man, the Ironmonger, Captain Red Skull, Thor and Loki, Black Panther, Killmonger.
I guess that's more of a Marvel issue than anything else.
Yeah.
Not necessarily unique to this franchise, but them in general.
Yeah, and it seems like that Marvel always falls back onto that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, other than that, the last fight scene, not the last fight scene, but the overall fight.
Yeah.
The way they did it, it felt like they wanted to do more, but they just kind of ran out of time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that had more so to do with how production got cut back because of
right. Or the WandaVision had the same issue as well too.
Yeah. Because this was actually supposed to come out before WandaVision.
That makes sense.
But production got held up. Yeah.
But yeah, sounds like an overall positive review here. I'll let you have the honors on going first. What do you want to give this out of 10?
Out of 10, I will honestly give this 8.5.
Okay.
My reasons being is because I really liked how they handled the characters that they had that they worked with. I like how they handled Sam and Bucky
Hmm.
and John and Isaiah and a couple of the spoiler characters that I want to say, especially as Zemo, like you said.
Right.
Um, I like how it actually told the story of Sam picking up the mantle. It just didn't start with him there. Like he got
Yeah.
the shield, and it just wasn't right off the end game. Like, yeah, now I'm Captain America. No, it shows that he had doubts and fears, but he had to overcome it. It was the heroes. It was the standard hero's journey, but they did it really well.
Yes. Yeah.
But still, with that last episode, where as crunched up as it felt, I felt like they could have extended a little bit more, and it would have worked better. And that's really my biggest complaint. And the only reason I say, like I said, the 8.5 is mainly that is, and the fact that at the end of the day, the bad guys were just clones of the good guys again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you there. I'm gonna go a little bit lower with 8. A lot of the same points that you have. Great hero's story, journey kind of thing. A lot of it felt predictable in retrospect. That's probably the biggest complaint.
Yeah.
And then some of it felt like they could have fleshed things out a bit more here and there, like additional characters that got introduced. The female character that they bring in becomes obvious who they are in retrospect.
Yeah. It felt like they
Few little
wanted to do
things
more
like
with
that
it.
where it's like well thought, great ideas, but just shy on execution. And
Yeah.
they add up to bring it down a bit.
Eh, Like I said, I think they had to do more so with the way the production went. Like,
Yeah.
because even the writer said he wanted to be 10 episodes. If they did have them 4 extra episodes,
Hmm.
they could have did so much more with it.
Yep.
So
And
much more.
I was gonna say, and on that, I mean, it's Disney. They have the money where they could have ate the production cost if needed.
They could have.
At
But at
this,
the end of the day, too,
hmm
instead of getting a second season, they just went on here to announce Captain America 4. So I'm happy with that.
that is true. That's true. If they take this and run with it for Captain America 4, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So 8.5. That sounds pretty good for a start. So yeah, definitely see it. It's currently airing through Disney Plus, and then we hope to bring out more short, quick reviews, if you want to call them that, here, and we'll try to keep them to things that we both had a chance to enjoy properly, and we'll try to avoid bringing anything out that's total garbage.
All right. Or unless the total garbage is gonna be fun.
In that case, it'd still get a high rating. Or maybe we'll do like a opposites day where we'll just bring out the worst of the worst. Let Drew come in here in my place or something. I don't know. Drew and Chris can host that one.
You ain't hear anything you said. Anyway.
Anyway, thanks for joining us. You can find us again on Twitter at PodcastTWL, where we provide links and content and some of the additional discussions that couldn't make it in the final cut. And any last words, though?
Go check out the show. If you liked any of the MCU, you are definitely going to enjoy it.
Thanks again for joining us.